When my family moved to Paraguay, I was only 10 years old, and there was a lot of new things that changes that came upon my life that had to become a new normal to me. At the same time, in Brazil, Gene was also adjusting to a new area in Brazil. He had been living in the Amazon for 8 years, and his family chose to move down to southern Brazil. And it was like a night and day difference for him with having so many water activities and options up in the Amazon. Coming to Vianopolis meant saying goodbye to those things and adjusting to something that was dry and arid, a semi arid ecosystem on top of the central plateau of Brazil. So we both, at the age of 10, had some really big adjustments to make. But what's sweet is that Gene's parents knew his love for water, and so they made every effort to find places that would allow the kids to have fun in water. And so some of those places are what we are going to be visiting on this trip. Let you join in on all this and see what we notice and see what might be different, because we all know that 24 years later, 24 years ago is when the last time we were here as a family. So that many more years later, things do change. They change a lot. And the people living here might not notice it as much, but those of us traveling to those places realize, wow, we've really missed out on a lot. So it'll be fun to see Gene's reaction and see the stories that come out as he's going to be visiting these various places and showing me some of the places that he went to in those days that it became special spots for him, places where he could cliff jump, go river tubing down rivers and rapids and things like that. So, as you all know, Gene is one that doesn't mind to take a few risks. He's very active, he's very outgoing, and it's really fun to see how his God given skills were used even as a young adult, and they continue to be seen as he's interacting with the Brazilians around him. And that's one thing that has not changed, is just the loving and kindness of these people. They are ready at any time to stop what they're doing and engage with us. And so it's so precious to see a culture that is very focused on the people around them and maybe not as time oriented as we are in the West. So I hope you enjoy hearing us reminisce and tell stories of our younger years. While battling jet lag, we try to give our best effort in getting into Gene's parents' routine. In the morning, fresh fruit, is cut up to add to the morning oatmeal. Fresh papaya and mangoes are in season right now. Absolutely delicious. And something that sticks out to me as I'm getting back into this lifestyle is how simple they live. They have chosen simplicity as one of their ways of living life here in Brazil. So they don't have a hot water heater. Water gets heated on the stovetop to do dishes. In fact, this is something that reminds me of the early years in my home in Paraguay. It's been 24 years since the last time we were here as a family, and so much has changed. What was once an open field is now built up with beautiful homes. A CrossFit gym is next door, and the trees have all matured so much that it's hard to see the train tracks down below. Gene went out to check out the grove in the corner of the property that was just being started the last time we were here. So exciting to see how everything has matured. Gene's dad was surprised, though, when he wanted to show us his young pomegranate plants, and he noticed that they had been attacked by probably what he thinks is ants, because all the leaves were off the bush. Most of the leaves. There are some left, so we think it'll recuperate. The property is on a pretty large plateau. It's actually the central Brazil plateau. And so the views are amazing. Now, the vegetation has blocked some of the view that was visible in earlier days, but the sky is still phenomenal. You can see storm clouds coming up from far away, and it warns you ahead of time if you're needing to get things in before the rain showers come. In preparation for a trip to Paraguay, we had to get yellow fever shots. This is a requirement for anyone entering Paraguay from Brazil. And Jean's parents have lived in Vianópolis for over 40 years, so they have a lot of connections. And he found a clinic to get a health card issued so that within a few hours we had our vaccinations. One thing I did notice as we were interacting with various people is that nothing got done without some kind of a friendly conversation. It was so precious to see people excited to see Jean again, and they would stop all they were doing and spend almost like an hour talking to him. Very communal culture.
Eu não consigo, lá 200 metros. Eu acho que nem os 100 metros eu pegaria. É difícil quando tá pulando
de 200 assim. Eu tava usando uma arma do...
Salto do Corumbá was a special place that Jean and his family frequented in the past. A place to get out of town and enjoy the fresh river waters in an area with multiple waterfalls. During our 2-hour drive there, it was great to hear some of the reminiscing going on, the memories that came back as we saw the different places, and again, all the changes that have happened through the years. Years ago, Jean's dad invested in this park in the early days when there was no development that had even started. After we registered, we found a place in their campground, and that would work for us to have a picnic lunch. With the sound of the waterfowl in the distance, it was a peaceful place to set up camp for the day. But just as we were finishing lunch, it started to rain. We quickly packed up the picnic and scrambled for the car. It didn't take long for the rain to stop, and Jean and I set off to hike up to the falls. As we made our way up the hill, it started to rain again. This time, it didn't stop right away. We were soaked, but that didn't stop us. We kept on. I had my Patagonia windbreaker on. It kept my upper body dry and warm, but everything else was soaked. I did, but not this.
Yeah, this is the first entrance.
Wow, that's impressive. Is it man-made or is it?
No,
It just did it on its own.
this is rock. Yeah, this, I believe. That's this was the normal falls. This is where it went over.
Wow.
Unless they did this.
So that it could make a bridge?
No,
It
this,
would have gone over this.
they would have gone over this. Yeah, and had a big. I think I remember saying, or they were mining in this. So maybe that was the.
Where all that rock came from.
Yeah. You want to film that a little bit with the. A gente vem aqui antes deles abrirem, antes. E tava tudo seco, um riachinho, alguma coisa que dava aqui, mas a maior parte passava lá do outro lado. E eles explodiram a barreira lá e começou de novo. Ah? Maybe they're over there. People, maybe that's a special little group.
They're gonna go.
With a guide, yeah. Unless they have to pay extra to do stuff like that. They all have stuff like fishing. Because if you could just go straight into the pond, the pool, you'd be fine.
That's a little chute right here. That's amazing.
Yeah. We always were testing about down to that bigger tree. And then that's where we would go over.
Wow.
So we were always trying to figure out if we actually came down on a big tube, could we actually make it over that? Like, would we hit and just flip, or would we actually kind of ride over top of all that and miss all the rocks underneath? But once you got into this, it's super deep. They used to mine for gold and diamonds in this. So
Oh, this is where you would jump into.
yeah, so we were jumped from way up above that. See that little rock up there, the outcrop?
Yeah.
Above that.
Okay.
That's where we would jump. So you had to jump out pretty far.
And that's where you got wedged in the rock.
And then I was standing up there, or maybe I was.
It was like the good old days.
Standing on the side.
Gene pointed out the various places he used to jump off the rocks into the water. The places where he and his friends would have cookouts on the banks of the pool right below the waterfall. The close calls of jumping and almost being wedged between the rocks below. The pool of 60-meter depth would get really cold the deeper he went, but somehow he got himself unstuck.
But, yeah.
Oh, that just looks like it's just rolling through that.
Yeah, normally, like I said, this is just beautiful. So with following them, we were having our churrasco kind of there and then up in the trees, you know, because that's the only place to get out. Or maybe right back in the trees over there. And again, I think it was Paul, Jeff, Danielle, and I. Não jogue lixo. Yeah. Don't throw trash.
Even though being fully soaked, we continued on to the next waterfall. You can see that the trails were well marked with stones, which kept the trail clean and less slippery. The next waterfall was one that Jean didn't recall as much.
Descansou no branco. Oh no, is that it?
When we hiked to the third and final waterfall, the rain had stopped, but the rivers were gushing with water. What would have been passable was being pounded with a massive cascade of water. The powerful waterfall made me wonder how safe it was to be even close to that. But it was amazing.
That is a really cool bridge.
Yeah. Like this. The wall of water way up there. And this other thing, there's a whole other new falls. Look at this. I've never been here after a big rain like that. And that I've never seen with so much.
5 seconds.
Yeah.
Falling away.
never seen it. Well, you were over there too. We went all the way over there. Yeah, we had to go. We were just going in the rain.
That must have had a lot of water coming over there.
I've never seen anything like it.
We were greeted with another big rainstorm as we approached town again. We tried our best to get out of the car and into the house without getting fully soaked again. The rain in the Pacific Northwest, where we're from, is usually light, but this storm reminded me of the good old days. When it rains, it pours. Some of the roads turned into rivers, but that didn't stop us from going out to eat. We finished up the day with a tasty meal at the local eatery. Barbecued chicken wrapped in bacon, with a side of rice, yuca, and tomato salsa. And Jean and I ordered our favorite soda from the past, Guarana. All right, Jean, where are we headed?
We are going out to visit the falls. We call it the falls, but it's actually just a little trickle down through some rocks of a little small, very small creek. But it's one of the first little rivers, or I mean creeks, that we actually water, I guess, that we got to visit when I was young. We came from the Amazon, and so there was always a lot of water. We were told that there was some river around here, and they took us out to that, and it was like, you've got to be kidding me. But so that's all I knew. And so I'd actually ride my bike out there, my bicycle. And then once in a while we'd rent the tractor that we had here, and the trailer. I mean, like our parents, I guess, would do it, and we'd take a bigger group and ride out there, and anyways, eventually I got a motorcycle and ended up riding out to this place. But it was just fun. It was just a little place to get away, sit in some cold water for a little bit. You couldn't swim because it was too the little the little pool was actually too small where the rapids or the creek went down through. But it was always fun, just kind of a place to go, and we'd camp out there as kids, and parents didn't even need to go because it was all safe. So it was just fun. It was just a place it was the closest place where there was water, where it was like, all right, you can actually kind of sit in it a little bit,
And how far is it?
I want to say it's probably 15 kilometers. I mean, it probably takes 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, because they have cattle guards and you have to kind of be slow getting over some of them. But
okay.
Down through some neat little farms and
dirt roads. Then
we used to actually go right through a farm. You go right between the corral and the house. That's how the road used to go. So we'll see if that's actually still like that. But
okay,
all dirt roads. Yeah, all dirt roads.
All right, let's go.
funny. I'm trying to think of where I used to jump. It seemed like it was way up on the bank somewhere down into the pool. It all looks so different, but
Yeah.
we used to camp right there.
Oh, wow. Were you one of the first to do it?
I don't think so, but I mean, it was always fun. I mean,
Yeah.
because the river kind of went around your little campsite, you know, and you
Sure.
could wash dishes right over there. And
Huh. Did you have hammocks or tents?
I think most of the time it was just tents. I mean hammocks. Sorry, hammocks. You can see they've dammed little spaces up so they have little pools back in here too.
Yeah. So cool.
And the water's always cold out here.
Wow.